Hello everyone, this is Dr. Achal and I welcome you again in our subject module titled as Services Marketing. So earlier we have discussed the concept of management of the promotional efforts, how the service organization will be managing out the promotional effort in terms of creation of the corporate objectives, in terms of formulation of the corporate objectives, selecting the expectations and selecting the different divergent needs and the wants of the chosen target segment. Taking into account the budgeting process, the promotional budget has to be taken into account, and definitely the core offering that is to be offered in the market area to be taken into account. And how the employees in their organization, each and every service organization, they are playing a very important aspect, they are playing a very important role. How to firstly gratiate them, how to firstly satiate them, that was all being discussed in our previous deliberation. So in today's discussion, we will be dealing with the services promotion and distribution. Few of the parts that was remaining there in our earlier discourse, that was being untouched in the earlier discourse. In today's deliberation, we will be dealing with that aspect also, that is the promotional effort, and the distribution will also be taken into account after that. So moving on to the slide, now this slide says that is the service promotion and distribution. Here it is being written here that the media choices in service promotion and distribution, how to choose out the best media regarding the promotional aspect that you are trying to undertake. And the distribution aspect should also be duly taken into consideration, which media is being best chosen for. The effective, now this is the point, the very first point says that the effective media selection is crucial in the services marketing. Focus on connecting with the right audience. Third, the services require trust and relationship building. The next one, that is media choices affect service visibility and accessibility. And the next, selecting the right channels enhances the distribution aspect, and the next one is all being talked of, that is exploring the media choices for service promotion. Now choosing out a particular, in our previous discourse also we have said the same fact that choosing a particular service promotional mode, it all depends upon your commitment of the resources, it all depends upon the, firstly you have to just ensure that what is the aspiration and expectations of your target audience. So firstly you have to just go into far, and it says here also, the second point here it is being written, that is focusing on connecting the right audience. Very important case of every organization, whether the organization is rendering you or it is manufacturing you the physical components and the physical commodities, irrespective of the fact that apart from the physical commodities, here we are limiting our discussion towards the services aspect. So in case of the services, it is very important and pragmatic enough, that is to take into account that what our target audience over whom we are targeting out our efforts. The selection of the target audience, the selection of the people over whom we are crafting out our 7 P's, we are drafting out and we are crafting out our 7 P's towards meeting out their expectations and the aspirations should be chosen at the very first juncture. And then our nature of the offering, whether the offering is suitable enough towards meeting that expectations, whether the offerings are being in consonance with the aspirations and the needs and the wants of the people at that particular point of time, or whether our core offerings are suitable enough and they are having a distinct kind of identity as being designed by the competitors offering. And definitely the finances aspect to be taken a very important role, it's playing a very important role, because until unless we are having an adequate amount of funds, in terms of the different kind of, for meeting the different kind of heads, expenditures and outlays, will not be able to pursue it within a good strategy, will not be able to pursue out the strategy and will not be able to implement out that strategy in a good kind of way. So focusing on the right audience, the services require trust and building relationship. Definitely all our efforts of the undertaking out a suitable promotional appeal, undertaking out in a good promotional media to choose upon, it is all being talked of in the sense of maintaining a good credible image in the eyes of the target audience. Now we will not be pointing out our discussion towards building a good rapport or towards building out a good relationship only with the target audience, but many a times we will be just reiterating at the same fact that we are living in this competitive scenario. As in a marketer, we have to just foresee that our efforts are not only being targeted towards meeting out the expectations and the needs of the target audience only, but our deliverance, the crafting and the deliverance of the offerings should be of such a nature wherein it is providing benefit to the society at large, and that is what is the concept of the societal marketing concept. Here in case of the services, even then we are personalizing, we are customizing out our offerings to the selected target audience, but even then apart from the customization and the personalization, the benefits that is being provided and that is being reaped by the masses at large should be taken into account with the help of the generation of our offerings. Similarly, it says that the media choices affect service visibility and accessibility. Definitely, like suppose you have opened up in a cafeteria in a certain prominent place. Now, the selection of a particular place towards establishment of a cafeteria, it is very much being conspicuous enough in the eyes of the target audience, in the eyes of the customers and the consumers. But even then, as in a marketer, we have to just foresee that that particular conspicuous presence should also be, they will be creating a profound impact if they will be having on a greater accessibility in terms of the its usage factor. So, accessibility factor should also be taken into bearance, should also be taken into account by the service provider, wherein before establishing any kind of establishment for offering out your services, you have to just take into account that their proximity, they should be easily accessible from the customer's point of view, easily accessible in terms of public transport, easily accessible in terms of its proper frequency to visit particular establishment, frequency to visit your store whenever being needed enough, a greater appeal, a greater convenience in terms of the commutation factor, your deliverance of the services more being effective enough. Many times it can be 24 hours, 24 into 7 hours. That kind of appeal and proposition should be offered by you as a service provider. Then only the service visibility, its conspicuous presence will be encashed by the customers, and definitely that will be more accessible to use and to frequently visit that particular assimilation of the services very frequently by the customers. Now, it also says that selecting the right channels will enhance the distribution, and definitely after choosing out the promotional media to inform, to remind, to persuade out your target audience, we as a service provider, we have to just ensure that all these efforts are being made towards increasing the frequency factor, towards increasing the footfalls of the customers to visit out your departmental store, which may be in the form of the brick and mortar, to make out your frequency purchase and the consumption decisions very frequently. The usage factor can more be pronounced. Even if they are using out your services in terms of the virtual mode, the digital transaction, the digital and the virtual transaction are being done, and they are using out their services. In both these instances, we have to just ensure that if apart from making out a good and choosing out a good promotional appeal and the techniques of giving them a greater a greater persuasion factor, the motivation factor is being enhanced, we also have to ensure that the availability, the distribution aspect is playing also a very important role. So, promotion and distribution taken into account by the service provider, by the service marketer, then only its proper impact can be seen in the in the transaction process of the service organization. Now, the next slide, here it says that understanding the audience in the service marketing, and it's all about related within a precise audience targeting is a key. To know the customer demographics and preferences, analyze the media consumption habits, that is digital or traditional. Segmentation helps in personalized messaging. Audience understanding guides media selection. Use data to derive targeted media choices. Now, understanding that audience in the service marketing, very important thing, very important point to be taken into account, and we know that all our strategies, all our efforts are being made and it will be crafted in a diligent way until unless we are knowing out that over whom we are targeting on our efforts. So, selection of the target market, selection of the target audience, selection of the target area, very important point to be taken into account. And here this is a point that is that says that we as a service organization, we have to firstly go in for the persuasion, and we have to go in for the deployment of the market segmentation strategy, which is all about towards finding out a common resemblance amongst the divergent group of people who are residing in a particular market area. You are finding out a common resemblance into it, you are dividing out the heterogeneous market area, finding out a common resemblance amongst the divergent needs and expectations of the people, and that common resemblance may be in terms of their income brackets, may be in terms of the demographic validation, may be in the part of competitors validation, may be on the part of the what the customers are expecting, psychographic features may be taken into account, or even if the users factor of the offerings, the use factors of the product, how they are using the product, benefits that they are encashing in terms of their frequency purchase. Even if the product benefits may also be taken as one of the parameter to pursue the strategy of the market segmentation. So here it says that the demographic features or demographic preferences to be acting as one of the parameter for pursuing out the strategy of the effective market segmentation. It also says that analyzing the media consumption habits, that is traditional or digital segmentation, helps in personalized messaging, audience understanding, guides media selection, using data to drive targeted media choices. Now, analyzing the media consumption habits, it only says of the fact that here as a service provider, we have to just explore and analyze that who are our target audience, who are in the habit of making out the purchase decision and consuming out your services with the help of the brick and mortar store. Who are the people who are more being frequently inclined towards the digital mode, and they are making out their assimilation of the services. They are just trying to enrich those experiences and the events in the process with the help of the digital mode, more being inclined towards the virtual mode to consume and to purchase and to consume out their offerings. Now, this particular kind of exploration should be done, then only will be able enough that proper segmentation strategy will be done, because nowadays we are experiencing that the customers, they themselves are equally being equipped with a different kind of information. They are more being price sensitive, they are more being aware in terms of making out the effective purchase decision. They are making out the product reviews, they are analyzing out the product reviews, and then they are moving in for the purchase decision process to assimilate out the consumption of the services more effectively. So here the segmentation strategy that is being done on different parameters. Apart from these different parameters, that is earlier we have said that the parameters may be on the basis of demographic features, competitors validation, or economic determinants or psychographic features may be taken into account. Apart from that, the purchase habits, the frequency of the purchase, the way they are transacting out their business, the way they are getting into the purchase process, that particular factor should also be taken into account, like whether they are moving for the brick and mortar store or whether they are just trying to undertake out the purchase decision on a virtual mode or through a digital transaction or through a digital way. So this segmentation strategy, why it is being needed? Because here in case of the services, we know that the segmentation strategy is playing a very important role, because we are personalizing out the services, we are giving them a customization approach. So personalization and the customization, an important factor to be taken into account, and this is the strategy which is also helping you out to choose out an effective target audience and to choose out an effective media of selection of the promotional appeal, which is very much in consonance towards meeting out the expectations and the aspirations of the chosen target segment. Now, moving on the next slide. Now, this says that the different digital channels that is being used for service promotion, and there can be many of the forms. The first technique is related with the social media, and this says that the personalization and the interactive service promotion is being done. Email marketing is also very frequently used nowadays, and it is a direct and a very effective method of giving you a direct approach. Earlier also we have discussed the same fact that in case of the services, the personal selling plays a very important role, because the nature of the services itself demands to have a customization, to have a personalization, and the technique of the personal selling playing a very important role in case of the service organization. So here these techniques, that is the use of the social media content, the use of the email marketing playing a very profound role, because here we are in direct touch and we are in a position to give you a customization and personalized kind of information to the chosen target customer. Similarly, content marketing, that is blogs are being created, the white papers are being formulated, they are being built, customization is being needed. So here creation of the contents, attractive contents, having more retention value, all these are techniques to build a strong credible relationship with the customers. Not only with the customers, we can say building out a strong rapport with the stakeholders also is very much being needed enough. So in today's competitive scenario, so using out in a content media or going in for the email marketing or the social media, very good techniques to talk of. Now the CEO structural equation modeling, SEM can be employed, SEO can be employed, capturing search intent and drive traffic, how the people are exploring and analyzing out the content that you're trying to float in the digital mode. Maybe a pop-up advertisement is there, maybe you are trying to promote out your offerings in terms of a certain window click. Whether the customers are clicking on that pop-up advertisement, how much time they are gauging on, how much time they are they are devoting on towards viewing out your advertisement or the editorials that you are trying to propose with the help of the digital mode. All these are an important technique to analyze and to evaluate out the response factor, the engagement factor, customer engagement and the retention with regard to the editorials that you are trying to propose. And definitely those information, those data will be helping you out to generate more effective promotional appeal in the years to come, and whether that particular appeal is effective in terms of the customer's perception or not. Certain kind of techniques can be used, like customer statistometer, the techniques like galvanometer can be used by the service provider, so that these statistical techniques and the digital techniques can be helping them out to analyze that whether how much time the devotion of the time is being done by the target audience, and whether they are this devotion of time is driving them out to move in a certain kind of favorable position or not. Similarly, the YouTube is also there, effective for the service demonstration. The webinars can be engaged for the educational based services. Promotion, if we as a target audience, we are using out our many a times we are using out our digital transaction. The digital mode is being used by us for the exploration and the evolvement of any kind of information, for gaining any kind of knowledge. The YouTube is also being assessed by the customers, and definitely with the every usage factor, certain kind of advertorials and advertisements being flopped up. Now these advertisements are also will be helping the customers to again and again to tick on with their loyalty factor, to just give them a retention factor, to give them a recall factor that we are there in the market area. This is all about the different kind of offerings that we are coming out with, in different kind of offerings. Even if you can foresee that certain kind of questionnaires and the surveys is also being proposed for which is being talked of for a duration of 1 or 2 minutes, and it is being requested from the target audience or from the customers, not only from the target audience, definitely from the customers, to just help them out to tick or to just involved in that particular survey and the questionnaire that is being floated, and that involves only for a 1 or 2 minutes to look into for. Now this generation of the or involvement of the people into the questionnaire or the survey will be acting as one of the media to generate out the feedbacks and the responses of the people, whether the regarding the advertorials or the promotional efforts that they are making on, regarding the brands, the credibility of the brand that they are perceiving, regarding the retention factor, whether the advertorials was being effective enough, and whether the customers and the consumers are retaining those information or not. So this kind of thing can be used upon. Similarly, the webinars are very much being effective enough in case of academic fraternity. In case of the academic discipline, in case of the educational sector, we are engaging certain kind of conferences. Seminars are being they are being circulated, they are being formulated. Webinars are also being used, which is taking the help of the digital mode, and it is very much being ideal enough for each and every learner in any phase of life. They are trying to assimilate all the information, sitting out at the comfort of their home, sitting out at the comfort of their at the place where they are residing, and they will be just trying to gain out the information that they are trying to gain. So this is a kind of thing. Now this is a traditional media, that was all about the digital mode. Now this is a traditional media in case of the services area. We are seeing that the traditional media is all being related within a print, within a TV and within a radio broadcast media, or we can have in a print media. Now TV and radio, it's all good for circulating out your promotional efforts, for informing and persuading, creating awareness amongst the larger target audience. The wider appeal is being generated. Similarly, print media is effective enough for local and niche markets, those market area wherein we have selected out our chosen target segment, and we are definitely going on with a specified approach. The print media can be deployed enough, and we are knowing out the accessibility and the accessibility and the inclination of the target audience. We can go in for the print media. Similarly, out of home ads, that is target location based audiences, any kind of neon signboards or any kind of flash advertisements can be conspicuously being placed in a certain conspicuous location, so that whenever the consumers and the customers, the people are on the move, they are equally being reminded enough with the different advertisements and the propositions or offerings that you're trying to come out in the this competitive scenario. Similarly, the use of the magazines and the newspapers, they are definitely one of the source towards enhancing the credibility of your offerings and towards creating the retention factor in the minds of the prospect audience, into the prospective audience. And then we can even go in for the TV editorials that are still building brand awareness in the services arena. Definitely the proposition of the information, the protection of the information with the help of the broadcast media, it plays a very important role, because they are having out mixed blending of the vision and the visual and the audio mode is being used. And we know that for the purpose of effective retention, the visual mode is playing a very important role, because our sensory receptors, they are more being pronounced to assimilate and to receive out the information which is being backed with the help of the visual mode. And it is a proven scientific fact that 90% of the assimilation is being done by our sensory receptors, which over whom in case of any of the phenomena, in case of any of the event, in case of any of the information that is being received and assimilated by us, if it is being backed with the help of some kind of visual mode. So, placing out our advertisement, placing out our or circulating out our advertisement with the help of our TV editorials or the broadcast media is one of the very effective tool to go in for. Even if it is being coming to fall in the category of the traditional mode or the conventional mode, even if it is broadly being used, it is largely being used by the service providers, by the marketers, because they have a wider large appeal. So, this is all about the media for the service distribution, that is website, central platform for inquiries and bookings. Like if you are going in for the booking of the railway tickets or the airline, they are the people who are helping you out for the railway tickets, they are the people who are there are certain specified sites, and we are just trying to take the use of these specified sites for getting the results confirmed with regard to the booking of our tickets. Similarly, mobile apps are there, key on demand and recurring services, certain apps, M-app is there, different other kind of apps are there, the cloud computing apps are there, different softwares are there which are there at our which are there at our ease, and in a very easily way we can just tap in for those kind of softwares, and we can be able to assess any kind of information, and we will be able to just have a greater accessibility of the information or the uses of the services that we are trying to get into for. Similarly, aggregator platforms, that is reach through services like Uber and Airbnb, e-commerce platforms streamlining the service delivery. For easy commutation, we have Ola and Uber. Similarly, collaborations are being needed for expanding the service reach. E-commerce platforms are being used for streamlining the service delivery and ensuring all channels provide seamless access. Now, the different kind of platforms which are in the form of the e-commerce, the different collaborations are being done by the service organization so as to provide greater ease and the user factor for the target audience. And even if not for the target audience, we as a service provider, we are just trying to ensure that the accessibility factor and the user factor of our offerings should be provided to a larger target audience, to a larger, not only for the selected target audience, to a larger kind of public, to the larger kind of masses. So, ensuring and selecting a proper channel very much being needed enough, and apart from the good selection of a promotional appeal, which is very much being in consonance towards meeting the needs and the expectations of the target audience. The collaboration is a need of the hour, and here also for providing a greater ease, we are just trying to collaborate our efforts to the help of the digital and to the help of the traditional mode. So, I think this is all about in today's session, and we have dealt with in today's discussion. This says that here in the conclusion aspect, we are seeing that how to optimize out the media for in case of the services arena, how to choose out the adequate and the optimized media selection, and it all says that here the media choices impacts the service promotion and distribution. Selecting the media, it is already being based on the audience, the budget and the goals, blending the digital and the traditional mode for broader reach, tracking out the performance and optimizing over the time. Effective media selection drives service growth. Strategic media use enhances the service accessibility. Now, in the conclusion, we can say that definitely all we have read and all we have deliberated, this particular deliberation, it was all about being talked of in the sense that how to create an effective promotional appeal, how to manage out your promotional efforts, and definitely if the certain kind of tool is being used, it is being selected, that is basically being taken into account, taken to way your corporate objectives, how you are defining out your corporate objectives in terms of the mission and the vision, how you are selecting out your advertisement budget, the promotional budget that you are framing, how the what are the psychographic features and the expectations of your target audience, how you as a service provider you are trying to create out your contents which is very much being in consonance with meeting out the expectations and the wants of the people of your chosen target area. So all these aspects has to be taken into account. We have discussed all this, and we are saying that apart from it, if we are going in for the use of a certain kind of promotional appeal, that should be also be having a proper blend of traditional and the modern approach, because nowadays we are experiencing that each and every customer, they are becoming more aware, they are more being price sensitive, they are having an adequate knowledge regarding the changing availability of the market conditions. So as an effective and an agile marketer, we have to just ensure that there should be a proper blend of both the tools, that is the tool which is very much being conventional in nature as we have discussed earlier, and the tool which is very much being needed enough in today's changing scenario, the digital mode being used by the customers also, and we also as a marketer, we have to just be abreast with the different kind of changes, and these changes are in the form of the virtual mode, having a mixed blend of the traditional and the virtual mode. And we are saying that this is all these techniques that we have discussed, that is the technique of the touchistometer, the galvanometer, these are the techniques wherein we are being able enough to gather out the appropriate information regarding the customer's involvement, their customer's retention, and how much effective your advertorials was there, and whether the customers was being inclined enough, they were being motivated enough, they were being willing enough to look into for your advertorials, how much time they have spent, whether that particular kind of information will be helping you out to measure the efficacy of your advertorials, and definitely that over the passage of time you will be improving enough to come out with a more effective kind of proposition of the promotional efforts. Now this was all about in today's deliberation, that is managing the promotional efforts, choosing out a proper selection mode of the promotional appeal depending upon the different kind of factors. And I hope that you people have understood the concept of the management of the promotional efforts and the different factors to be taken into account, choosing out the best one. And there is no best one, but yes, in case of the services, we are saying that we are coming out within a personalized way, we are giving out a more customization approach to the customers. So definitely there is not a best approach to going for, but depending upon the accessibility and depending upon the more discretion of the customers of the chosen target segment, you may choose in a particular mode of promotional effort, and the distribution aspect should also be taken into account with that factor. So with this, I hope that you have understood the concept of the promotional efforts, and the next discourse will be dealing with the distribution aspect. So till then, stay safe and stay blessed. Thank you all for joining.